This is Tamron's 50 to 300 $700 lens that they just released with stabilization built in. Now there's a couple of ways we're going to test this lens. One is going to be for wildlife, because this is a great focal range for wildlife. Focal range for wildlife, being that it gives you pretty wide at 50 and then gives you a fair amount of reach at 300. And if you have a camera that will do APS-C mode, like the Sony A1 or A7R4, A7R, A7 IV, those will give you even more reach. You'll be at 450 millimeters, which is great. It's a great focal length for wildlife. To do that, we're gonna go well above the Arctic Circle and see what we can find way, way, way up north. It's 12:23 in the morning, and the sun is not quite going down yet. We're walking up to the top of this little area by Finger Mountain to check out the sunset. Some muskox just off the road here. Try and grab a couple photos of real quick. See them right there. Pretty windy. I don't know if you can hear me, but there are some swans in the lake over here. I'm gonna see if I can get some photos of them. Now, full disclosure, Tamron sent this lens to me, but I don't get to keep it. They're not sponsoring this video, and they don't get any input to it before I put it out there for you all to see. The other way we're going to test it is doing what we're doing today. Just a general walk-around lens, filming, photographing landscapes, people in landscapes. Because this is a good general lens overall, it's maybe not quite as good as an all-in-one lens like the 28 to 200 is, but this is a really versatile lens with the focal range that Tamron's given us. And because it's so small and lightweight, it makes it really easy to just grab and go. And you know, I'm hiking miles today and it doesn't bother me at all. So this is one of the first shots I want to get with 50 millimeters. Gives you a really nice focal range because 50 millimeters is wide enough to get a pretty decent shot, but it still isolates your subject a lot and really makes you focus in on your subject. 50 millimeters is great for portrait work, anything like that. So right up here, there's this nice bridge, huge rushing river underneath it. Well, it's a rushing river. I'm gonna set the camera up and get a shot just as we walk across the bridge. I like the way that shot turned out. One of my favorite things about longer focal lengths in stuff like this is how you're able to just pull everything together in the frame and give it a really unique look. It has that sort of highly compressed look where the background, the foreground are really pushed together, and you just get these beautiful image compositions that look incredible. Now, you can do even more by doing what I've been doing, which is dirtying up the frame. You put a lot of stuff in the shot that's going to be out of focus, And that just adds to this tremendous sense of depth and scale, which I really, really enjoy using in my imagery. Something else that is really fantastic about this lens is the close focus distance. I don't know the exact macro ratios, I'll put them up here on the screen, but take these little flowers for example, you can get so insanely close to them to take pictures, it's really almost hard to believe. All right, onward we go. So let's talk about this lens, because it really is good. There's a couple of problem issues with it overall, but I think those will be ironed out via firmware, because Tamron's done a really good job of that in the past. So to start off with, it has a 67mm front filter thread right there. It's got this focus hold button or programmable button on the side here, and it has a lock switch right there. Now the other thing it has is a USB-C port right there, which this lens is still weather sealed, even though it has that USB-C port. But what that enables you to do is use Tamron's fantastic desktop software, or even I think Android phone software, to be able to change, adjust, and tweak the parameters of the lens, which is amazing. You can change this to a linear focus, you can change the direction of the focus, you can program this button to do different things. It's really powerful, and it gives you a lot of versatility in this lens. A couple of the other things that I absolutely love about this thing is it's small, it's lightweight, it's compact, easy to pack with you. It's super easy to run around with, especially once you put the lens hood on, if I could actually get it on. It's just a really solid lens for $700. It's hard to imagine getting something better than this. That being said, there are a couple of issues that I'd like to see Tamron work on via the firmware. And one is the focus. It just is a little slow on the focus. Now that's not because of the focus motors. Those are insanely quick. You can see right here, they go snap right to a subject, but it just doesn't quite work as well with Sony's tracking. So I did this focus test to check out and see how well it did. Now it's not surprising that at the longer focal lengths, especially wide open, it had a little more issues. But overall, the lens does perform pretty solidly. Now, when I was doing photographs of wildlife way up in the Arctic, it performed very well. And when I was doing photographs of this little bird jumping around here in Seward, it did really, really well there too. I did miss shots. It did miss shots, but also that might have been partly my fault of trying to jump around after that bird had a longer handheld focal length, and it was a little bit lower light there. But it did get some great shots, and it got some great footage of that little bird. And when I was way up in the Arctic testing it for wildlife and doing landscape stuff up there too, it actually did a pretty good job of tracking these swans through the air. I feel like it missed maybe 15 to 20% of the photos when I was at the max focal, the max zoom distance, the telephoto end. But it still got some great pictures. The pictures here of the caribou turned out nice. The footage of the caribou turned out great. And that's one thing that is really great about this lens is they've included their stabilization built into it. To test this, I took my FX6, which has no in-body stabilization, and I turned the stabilization off and on to show you the difference in what you can see here. So I was looking at these geese or ducks or whatever they were floating out there in the water. You can see here without any vibration compensation or Tamron's basically inbuilt lens stabilization, it's really shaky. But as soon as I turn it on, you can tell it snaps right to it. Now, that works well in most cases. It works great for photos. For video, it's a little bit harder for it to adjust. It's a little jumpy. But it does work really, really well for photos, so you can get better photos at a longer range, at lower shutter speeds than you could without it. But if you pair this with a camera with IBIS built in, you can actually get some really nice handheld stable shots. For image quality out of this lens, it's good. It's good across the board. The photos, the video is sharp, it's well detailed, it's great contrast, good colors. The flare resistance is also pretty good. You don't get a lot of veiling flare when you're pointing straight at bright objects. The sun stars are pretty decent as well. They're not the most defined, but they're not bad. And it doesn't have a lot of ghosting flare, which are when you get the little orbs going through from, a strong light source. I love what Tamron's doing with these kind of different focal lengths, because if you pair this with the 17 to 50, You have from 17 millimeters to 300 millimeters in two very small, inexpensive lenses for under $1,500, I believe. That you have two massive focal range lenses between the two, that you only have to carry two lenses, which is fantastic. And you don't have to spend a ton of money for both of them, which is great. While I would consider this lens to be a little more on the budget side, which is kind of what it's aimed at, if you're like wanting to jump into wildlife stuff, or if you're wanting to have a pretty versatile, wide focal range lens that you could shoot a lot of different stuff with, this is a pretty good option, especially if you want to do wildlife stuff, being able to go out to 300, punch way in, or even go into APS-C mode and go even farther and get good tight shots of wildlife. I think if you're looking to just buy one lens, the Tamron 28-200 is probably still the little bit better option, but this is a fantastic lens if you're wanting to push yourself into longer focal lengths. You couple that with the incredibly close focus distance that this lens has, and you can just really get a huge variety of shots without ever having to take a lens off or put a different lens on your camera. But next, you're going to want to watch this video right here, which goes through some of the better budget lenses I've found for Sony. I'll see you over there. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below, or join my live stream, which happens most Wednesday nights, 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you again soon in the next one. Cheers. And now I just got a couple of miles to hike back down.